Well, I've returned from my journey doing gridwork in Oregon and helping the tree of return grow up and branch out. So today let's do a quick recap, and then I'm going to put in the activation at Mirror Lake that I did live at the end of this video because the live stream connection wasn't the best. So in case you want to do that, that will be at the end of this video. But first, let's do a recap and let me share a little bit about my journey in Oregon. So if you're new here, I'm Liana. I've been doing grid work across the United States that helps activate and reawaken a bridge harmonic in the crystalline Sophia Grid. This bridge harmonic stabilizes the planetary network and helps it come into coherence through the mind-heart axis, through the heart-womb root axis that helps it go down into the earth and sing back up to the all, completing the lattice network that has been fragmented for us and allows, while it's fragmented, keeps time and memory from being fully in coherence. Bridge harmonic is also a crucial step in helping the Ouroboros to close, which is a part of the mission that Matthias De Stefano is doing in Argentina for the winter or December solstice. It's part of my work as well that I will be continuing to do as much as I can separately on my own. So before going to Oregon, I had done remotely and in-person nodes in Western North Carolina that help awaken the waters of memory. I had done nodes in Eastern Tennessee, Michigan, Missouri, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, and New Mexico. These are all a part of the bridge harmonic, and these all were roots, branches, sap, and rings of the tree of return, helping it grow back from the roots where it's being watered from the waters of time and memory. The tree of return ties into nodes that I had also done remotely in Glastonbury, in Egypt, and in Turkey. These are the primary axis points that are, or it is a primary axis point together that allows it to descend down into the womb of Earth and sing back. So I went to Oregon to complete this. Oregon is sort of a pinnacle node. It is the highest part of the tree and a gateway point to the all and to a levee of time, which I mention in my live sort of personal retrieval that I did here in Asheville, how this harmonic goes from North Carolina to Oregon to a levee of time out at sea. So the first step that I did in Oregon was in Estacada, which is where I stayed during the trip at this point called the Rock, which is on the creek there. And they have this rock that juts out to the creek. Now, my grid work is not overly flashy. It's very embodied, it's very somatic, and it's very much with the land. So the rock is part of a vocal resonance node in the bridge harmonic. And when I got there, I felt like the energy there had been very much neglected and cut off from the heart of the earth and from the bridge harmonic. So like a vocal cord that had been cut and it needed to be sung back to coherence with the bridge harmonic and the heart, and allow it to rise in vibration and resonance and tone. And what I'm seeing now, if you were to think of it as a place on the tree, would be almost like a knot in the tree, or one of those where those natural spaces, holes, crevices where squirrels and birds make a home. Day 2 started at Multnomah Falls in the morning. And so Multnomah, if I'm saying it correctly, sorry if I'm not, means towards the great water. When I got there, I'd been there before, but when I got there, I was looking at the name and I was like, there's some resonance here with Mother and Divine Mother. And so if you were to look at just the resonance of Multnomah, you could say it means rooted people towards the Great Mother. Now, Multnomah Falls has a natural bridging structure as well as a bridge you can go up to at the midpoint of the falls, where it's a 2-tier waterfall. So I went up to Multnomah Falls and looked at the falls and was like, okay, where do I go? And where I knew I needed to go was down to the base of the falls. They have it blocked off right up at the falls, but you can go to the creek nearby. So I went to the creek nearby to start my work in singing, and when I tapped in, I felt it was like a vertical spine, but the upper part of the spine, like the cervical spine. But what I was seeing was golden codes and light coming down through the waterfall. So it was a place where time, codes of time, and higher cosmic codes enter in through the water, through that node there, and go down to the base of the waterfall, which you could think of as womb waters. So we went down to the base to cohere the womb, to cohere the root of the waterfall. And I had taken a rock from the rock in Estacada to place and connect it in at the waterfall. And so I grabbed a stone. It was kind of a pinkish in color stone to take from the womb waters. And then I was tuning in and was like, okay, now what's next? And I saw myself going up to the bridge and connecting, re-looping the womb to the heart of the waterfall, to the midpoint, to the bridge of the waterfall, with that stone, dropping the stone in. So that's what I did. And so that was closing a loop so that the waters of time could meet a golden spiral of memory flow at the base of the waterfall and flow towards the womb gates and mirror nodes. That day I also went to Hood River, which is a place that I had been envisioning for a while, the last couple years, before even realizing that it was in Oregon as a future home. So this was also a personal and planetary node. And when I was driving to Hood River from Multnomah, because they are about 30 minutes in between, maybe more, I had the thought, oh, I'm like releasing this node, this energy that I've been holding on to as this place as a future home, because it won't come in this cycle. And I also went and ate there and did things there, and I was like, I just kind of like need to be here to feel the energy and also activate the energy that still needs to be activated by me in this place. I went to the Hood River Waterside Park, where they have kind of a little beach area on the Columbia River, and sat there, and there's this like little rock alcove or circle. It was like a little circle seat that was dipped down that you could go and sit in. I don't think many people are going to sit in there because it was kind of hard to get to. And was sitting in there connecting on what needed to be done here, and it was an activating of a seed harmonic there. A tree of life, flower of life harmonic, a mother seed in the land and in the node there. So if you're thinking about it in the tree, you could think about it as the fruit or the seeds that grow from the tree. And so I did some singing in light language and energy work on that. And then I was sitting on a bench thinking, okay, where do I go to next? Or what do I do next? And I just saw the route on the GPS go south and then go west, instead of going west and then south, which was the way which would have been going back the way I came. And sometimes when I'm doing grid work and I'm driving, I sing and do work while I'm driving if I feel it bubbling up. And so I thought, okay, maybe that's what I'm meant to do. I'm going to do grid work while I drive back through, going through Mount Hood back to Estacada. And so I start driving and I get on the scenic highway, and the GPS goes, stay on this road for 35 miles. And I was like, okay, so I would drive probably like 2 to 3 miles, and then it's like, okay, in quarter mile, turn left. And I was like, what? And then, so I turned left. I was like, okay, I don't think I'm supposed to turn yet, but I'm just going to trust this and turn and see what happens. And so I turned, and it took me in a big circle back to the river. But on the way back to the river, we went through apple orchards and groves and valleys. One, to connect me with the harvest energy, the seeds being harvested, to close the loop of the flower of life spiral, but also to connect with the energies of the land that I was closing a personal chapter on. After that, obviously, I was like, I need to reflect on what just happened, that my GPS just spontaneously changed and took me a different route and brought me back to the river. And where it brought me back to on the river, the only way to go with my limited knowledge of where I was to cross the bridge to Washington State, which I did, but which is also another threshold point. And obviously I had to come back across the bridge. So that was day 2. And day 3 was going to the coast to connect with that levee point or gateway portal out in the ocean. And so I wasn't too particular about which beach I went to. I was either thinking Cannon Beach, or there's Hug Point or Arch Beach or something like that. And so I go to the beach, and I set my point for Arch Point or Arch Beach or something like that, because Arch. But there's not a parking lot for Arch Beach, or not one that I saw. And so I ended up at Arcadia Beach, which Arcadia would translate to the arc or curve or bow that to daylight, that meets the daylight of the all. Ardea, which would be a goddess of daylight. So it's a gateway node out to sea that meters and mends the flow of time here on Earth. It's a threshold point between past, present, and future. And so what I did was help open the gates of time to meet past, present, and future with coherence and reweave it whole, to release fragmented loops that get stuck over and over again in false timelines of the past, to be able to root in the present and release fear of the future, and be able to step into liminality or the unknown more with ease. And you can see in the photos how foggy it was. So I sort of saw it symbolically, on one side you had the stone, the rock walls that you could see very clearly, very stable, very structured, very supportive. And then on the other side, you're walking into the fog, to where you can't see necessarily what's in front of you, but you just trust your footsteps to go forward, and for the sands of time to hold you and carry you through on your path. At the beach, I had taken 2 objects, a piece of wood and a stone from Hood River. At the time, I didn't know why I took 2. I just said, I need 2 things when I was at Hood River. And that was because it was for the coherence of past, present, and future. So me, myself, being the present, and each of the objects representing past and future. For when I did my ceremony, that was day 3. Day 4 was Mirror Lake, which I have the activation here that you can watch, so you can see most of what I did at Mirror Lake. So the live was scheduled to start at 9. I was a bit late because you walk up there. It was raining. I probably should have left a few minutes earlier. So I felt like the activation part for the viewers may feel a little bit rushed, or like you don't have enough time to like relax into it. And that's because it was coming through to sync up with something in time that it needed to sync up with. And so at Mirror Lake, which was on the eclipse day, which was the 21st, which was a 777 gateway, and also a 939 is what kept coming through, a 939, which I think 939 is the 9 of September, the 3 sevens, and a 9 year, but it's a triadic completion gate. Because I kept saying that number over and over again, 939, 939, when I was there, and I didn't know exactly why. Like, even I did a ceremony after what you'll see in the activation if you do it, which was to infuse root in Septarian stone that I had in the lake, anchoring in the 3 sevens as one, which is also very a triadic harmonic. So in the mirror lake, dissolving and cleansing the false mirrors and fragmentations, or fragmenting timelines, was what came through in the activation, and connecting mirror nodes, other lakes, other imaging points, other places of reception and projection across the grid, and dissolving barriers to returning to harmony through time and memory. So that completed the separate activations of the bridge harmonic and the tree of return through the mirror gate, which comes through in the activation as the tree growing up through Mirror Lake and reaching towards the heavens, which symbolizes being the tree of return and time and memory, being able to move with the mirror as a teaching tool, as a tool of evolution, but to do so past distortion, past false projections, and to help recohere harmony through the mirror. The final one on my trip, day 5, also the day that I flew out, was Happy Valley, which has resonance with Egypt and Atlantean and Lemurian energies. And Oregon itself holds a Lemurian gate and mycelium network that was cut off from origin frequencies. So Happy Valley was the day of the equinox. So I did a ceremony in the morning at 7 a.m. and in the evening at around 6 p.m. because my flight was that night, so I couldn't hang around too much. So in the morning, it was the beginning of weaving together the sun and moon energies into the bridge harmonic and cohering all the nodes that I'd done before from east to west. as the sun rose and the moon rose over the east. And I anchored in my bloodstone in the harmonic, which also feels personal and planetary. The task of anchoring in a bloodstone in Happy Valley was given to me by inner earth beings, by harmonic grid holders in the earth, when I was working on the Vatican work. And so in Happy Valley had been a conductor node. It had been tuned to transmit and cohere an anchor, but it wasn't closed. It wasn't anchored in to the geodesic grid nodes of Earth to where it could stabilize and stay that way. And the bloodstone rooted that conductor capacity to be able to stabilize and persist if it's not altered intentionally in the future, if it's not moved. And I did it in a park between 3 trees in the morning. So after that, I went and checked out of my Airbnb, hung around a bit, just kind of relaxed. And then I was like, what am I doing now? I knew my PM ceremony was going to be back in Happy Valley. And then I was sitting and I was like, oh, I'm going back to Happy Valley all day, aren't I? Which is pretty much what I did. I went back to Happy Valley. It was pretty close to where I was staying in Estacada. But when I went to Happy Valley, I went on more walks. I went to this place called Hidden Falls, which is a very short trail. Happy Valley is very suburban. So I went on this Hidden Falls trail, which is a very kind of neighborhood feeling trail. I parked behind a high school, and it's a very short trail to this very small waterfall that's kind of set back, and it has a bridge on it. And I was just kind of relaxing there, rejuvenating there. And so I sat on one side of the trail for a little while. There's on the side that I parked at has a bench, and so I sat on that side of the falls before moving across the bridge, which goes over the creek, where you can see the waterfalls. And when I was facing the side of the creek, not the side of the waterfall, so I had my back to the waterfall, and it looked very beautiful, this creek side did. And I was looking at it and I thought, oh, I'm here for the earth or this park to give something to me instead of me just working with the land. And I took a picture of that side of the creek, and during the sun I couldn't see how the light was refracting in the photo until I got back into the car. So this is the photo that I took, and you can see all the rainbow light in the photo, sort of an acknowledgement of a return there. And then I walked through the other side of the park and up through the trail a bit, and on my way back, I was like, oh, I need to touch some trees. And so I go and touch this one tree, and I go to touch it, and I hear, no, not that one. But I touched it anyways, because I was like, oh, it's a tree. And one thing about this was the only day in Oregon that I could smell the pines, which when I've been in Oregon before, usually I don't have an issue smelling the cedar and the herbs and things like that. especially if you go towards more the desert end of Oregon. And that's one of my favorite smells, is the trees. And then so I go to touch the tree that I was told to touch originally. And it did some sort of nervous system recalibration for me, because my arm muscles started twitching, started receiving codes from the tree to help with my own ability, my own nervous system's ability to hold land activations like this. Which is interesting because the way that my energy field is embodied and structured is so connected to the earth that I already feel like it probably looks a lot easier than a lot of other people's activations. But I was very tired when I got back here, so it still takes a lot of energy. So then my PM ceremony, I had gotten flowers from a dahlia you pick farm, and I had intuitively gotten 3 flowers, and I didn't realize until afterwards that the colors and the flowers were all very symbolic. So I got a sunflower, a yellow sunflower, so the sun, the mind, the logos, and I had gotten a blood red dahlia, the womb, the lifeblood, and then I had gotten a dahlia that was kind of gradient, a peach orange to blood orange color, which was sort of the mix of the 2 colors that I had gotten, the sun and the womb, or the body and the blood. So the peach to gradient blood orange dahlia was the heart and the bridge, the merging of the 2. And so at the PM ceremony, it was sealing and closing the activation of the bridge harmonic and weaving it from west to south into the planetary network, and from east to north into the planetary network. And having the 3 become one. And during the ceremony, as the sun was setting in the west, sealing from west to east, east to north, west to south, I said something like, the bridge harmonic is now activated as Mercury sets and rises with the sun, cohering and unifying all as one. And I had looked at my astronomy app and things, but I was mainly paying attention to the equinox and the eclipse times. And so I didn't take note of that Mercury was conjunct the moon that morning, where I was at 7:11 a.m. And so during the new moon period, the moon rises and set time is very close to the sun. So even the day after the new moon, the moon is rising in the morning and setting in the evening. And so I didn't even think about Mercury being in the mix. If you watched my other videos, the keys of Thoth and alchemy, about the sun and moon and the electrum, you may recognize the sun, the moon, the Mercury being representative of the 3 prime materials, are sulfur, salt, and quicksilver. And the 3 prime materials are all components of what is said to create the Philosopher's Stone, which go through a process of electrum, then coming into coherence and creating Azoth, which is the all spirit, or the one, or the frequency of the one. It is the seal and the sphere. So the sun, the moon, and Mercury create a harmonic triad. the three that become one, that cohere past, present, and future, that bridge time and memory, that bridge earth and the all. And I had got out my app, which you can see what's in the sky when you point it in a specific direction. And there was the moon, Mercury, and the sun as they were setting. So Mercury had spent all day with the sun and moon where I was. And so through this, the tree of return was completed, this harmonic bridge. And now the tree of return needs to meet the rainbow bridge. So on September 29th, I'll be going back to DuPont, which is where I started for the Waters of Memory in Western North Carolina. But this time, instead of the waterfalls and the creeks and rivers, I'll be going to Lake Imogene, which last time I went, I passed the sign for Lake Imogene, like a photo image. And I don't think I've ever been there. I've been to DuPont many times when I was in high school and younger years. I don't think I've been to Lake Imogene. And I passed a sign for it, and I was like, I think I need to go there. But I didn't that day. And then I had also been feeling like, or had been guided, okay, I'm gonna have to go back to DuPont at some point. And I assumed it was gonna be before I went to Oregon. I didn't get called back to DuPont, so I guess I'm not going back, but I am. And it's after Oregon. And it is to move the rainbow bridge through the mirror gate. So closing the loop between the bridge harmonic with the rainbow bridge looping through it. So from Mirror Lake to Lake Imogene, which allows the rainbow bridge to meet the bridge harmonic, and it's in preparation to move through the womb of return and to anchor them both at the eye of the dragon, which I know when and where that will be, and it's not supposed to be in the United States. But I'm not sure if I can do that on my own. So we'll see how that unfolds and what is moved around for that. So that's a recap on my journey. I'm going to record what I do at Lake Imogene, but it won't be live, so I'll share that afterwards. And if you're interested, here's the Mirror Lake activation to help you cleanse and dissolve faults and fragmented mirrors, fear loops and distortion loops, and to come more into sovereign union with yourself and your own perception and image of self. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. So I'm at Mirror Lake. I'll just show you a little bit what it looks like. It's a very misty, rainy day. And when it is a clear day, it's called Mirror Lake because it mirrors Mount Hood, which it's not a clear day, but I feel like it's not meant to be a clear day. We're not meant to be able to see the mirror today. And so I just got here, started the live a little bit late because you have to hike up here. And we're going to do a goddess gate. But the goddess gate is going to be about the union of time and memory, the union of self, dissolving of mirror loops that you've outgrown, returning fragments, and being here in the present now during this eclipse. And a natural union day and a natural dissolution day to allow you to see yourself more clearly and who you want to be. I've never been here before with me during an activation, a meditation, I tap into my higher knowing, my oversoul, and through my oversoul, I tap into different goddess frequencies. My primary channel is the Divine Mothers, or the Goddess, and the Heart of the All. So through that, I channel what is needed. And I know it's very, probably hard to hear with the rain, but like I said, we'll just do the best we can. So I'll get tuned in a little bit, centered myself, and then we will begin. So just to begin, you can take a deep breath in through the crown and down through the heart. Feeling, visualizing the air, the breath entering the crown and releasing from the heart. Allowing you to journey from your mind through to your heart. And on the next breath, breathe in through the womb or root of your being and up through the heart, connecting your body to your heart and seeing the energies move, connecting in and holding. And as you continue to breathe, see golden spirals forming at your feet, connecting you down into the earth, into the grid of the planet. And these golden spirals that move up from the heart of the earth, up through the network, connect in with your feet, connecting you in with everyone who is present in this moment, with their breath, with their heart, through this eclipse gate. And the spirals move up through your body, through your energy, and move to your heart. And a white, shining triangle, pyramid, moves down from the all. And this energy surrounds your whole being, connecting in with the golden spirals of the network of the earth and surrounding you in high frequency protection. And as you're centered here today, we'll tap into the goddesses of all. The one goddess of time, of memory, of space, of dimensions, of body, of knowing, of existence and expression. And as we tap into that frequency that surrounds you, allow yourself to find it within your own being, your own body.
And as the goddesses of all surround this space, this lake, this circle made through the field, through the network, and you see the cycles of time before you, the constellations, the planets, the seasons, the rivers, the youth, the wisdom, the age, and as these surround you in your knowing, which cycles of time have held you stuck from who you came here to be? Which beliefs, which reflections, which masks? Just allow them to be present in your knowing and awareness. And as you see the mirrors, the cages that have held you stuck, limited your beliefs, how have they done this? How do you know they are not for you anymore? This lake and this portal where we are standing now in front of the mirror, ready to be dissolved. To dissolve the mirror coherently, to dissolve all the mirrors coherently, you must be connected to your inner knowing, to your truth. That allows you to trust. That allows you to know that without the reflections, without the confirmations, without the resistance, you are exactly where you need to be. So look into the gates of time, into your memories of this life, into your memories of other lives. Which ones have held you? Which ones have kept you from moving forward? The fears, the patterns, the loops. And as you locate them, see yourself standing in front of the lake. And you throw them in to this portal where mirrors will dissolve here, today and now. And breathe. And tune into your body, into your own waters of being. into the lineages, into the experiences, into how you have embodied your purpose. Maybe when you weren't even realizing it, you were just always in the right place at the right time. And before you, you see a goddess of timing, a goddess of memory, a goddess of past, present, future, a goddess of will and love in union. And she holds out her hand to you, leading you gently into the waters. You can go as far as you like. You can fully submerge yourself, or you can just put your feet in. Allow yourself to be wherever is needed for you. And as you step into the waters, they cleanse you, they dissolve the fear, the loops in your throat, in your mind. In your shoulders, in your higher heart. And down through your heart. And you and the goddess place a hand on your belly, and you breathe into your sacral, into your womb, into your cauldron of creation, where the waters rejuvenate and flow out and through. And in the waters, you hear the goddesses begin to tone, to sing, to hum. And you yourself begin to hum as the waters turn gold. As the rain flows over the lake, over the water, dissolving the gate that has held you in fear, that has held you from knowing yourself, your soul, your heart. And we will begin to sing as well. Ame ale ale ro re ale 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 alo ru ke aram. Ole amare he alo kuru amare he alo. Are he ale he oroho. Ahe ale akamare ale akare he. Hello Roma re he alo hare alo. Tamake akaro e alo lam. Hey 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 hey. Oh, 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 oh. Era me kero kura mere kere o mate alo kura yampam. Akura yapaya la oru. Alo kuro amare ale alo. Hey, 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 oh. Lole amaro mare, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, la mare ako. Hey, oh, la mare ako ale akao. Ano etem erokuru amadea. Akuru adarea. Breathe with the water, with the lake, with the earth. And we will tune time, memory, form, will, heart. Focus on the parts of your body as you feel called. Ante ate 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 mode ale. Ate 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 orume ate alo. Ea kamarore ate me aro he alamate adamori aroa. Hey ale 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 umaru. Te karomari ate atore eti uru. Hamare aloria harea 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 o. He ke amate uru. Lole ale 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 alole ale ale olole amo. E ale amokuru ake aramaru. Kiki kamaru riamiti aloa. Eke loka made atoromaru. Mukuru, 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 mukuru aka. Hey, ale, 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 ale. And the goddesses begin to show you where you've been, where you are now, and why you can trust in your own being to get you where you need to be. And they begin to lead you out of the water. And you look at its shiny surface. And you begin to see it ripple and swirl. And up through the center of the water, a tree begins to grow, begins to emerge out of the water and up to the sky, reaching, a tree of return of all. And as it grows up through to the sky, its roots connected in through all mirror gates, through the network. Connecting with the network. Returning the frequencies of the heart of the all through to the network, recalibrating time, meeting memory, where it is being tuned now. And as they meet in union, you may feel like a heavy blanket, heavy weight leaves your body, leaves your spine. A key that you have been carrying through time and space. Lo le ale, oro ale, o moru ke o, lo le he ulem, lo le lo ham. Ele ke ako. Ele ke okuru ham. Adore ale alo kuru ke. What do you need to know in this moment? Focus in on your heart, your solar plexus, and your inner flame. What is it telling you now? And the rain stops. The mirror dissolves. Time meets memory in your body, in the earth. To come into union once again. And as you continue your day, care for your body, your heart. What was the weight, the key that you left here today? Through your spine, through your womb, that has unlocked what was needed to be unlocked within you, to be seen, to be heard, to be known by you. And take a deep breath in. And on the next breath, feel the breath coming up from the earth, meeting your breath. And as you breathe and hold for 1, release for 2. Breathe in again with the earth for 1, 2, 3. Hold for 1, 2, 3. And release for 1, 2, 3. And again, breathing in, holding for 1, and release. Begin to move your arms, relax your feet. You can sway and move around. Just feel yourself becoming more at one with the earth below you. And you see the triangle around your body, the pyramid of white light, the golden spirals begin to merge and harmonize in your field. The light moves closer to your body, sealing in the frequencies received here today. And all of your energy throughout time and space that belongs to your body now returns in through the base of your body in harmony and coherence, moves up to the heart, through the mind, and you feel the energy looping back down through the mind to the heart again, down through your body, down through your feet, a continuous movement and spiral. And then you breathe in again, letting your energy know it's done receiving today, sealing your being, and returning your full presence to the here and now, the space around you. Okay. So, it's raining again, but in the middle there, when they were talking about the union of time and memory, the rain stopped briefly. And dissipated, and that was confirmation for me that what we came here to do was done, because as I was walking up here, I was like, why is it raining? It feels like it has to rain, but it doesn't feel like previously when I've done this before and the rain has come, it's because it's infusing a new higher consciousness in the waters to stream out. So I was like, why is it raining? Is it because it needs codes? And I heard, no, solvent. And so when it stopped, it was like, that was done. The dissolving part was done. And it is much lighter, so I know this probably was not the best audio, the best connection. I don't even know if it worked because I just have my phone and my GoPro, so I can't see the chat.